Hello, and a wonderful, wonderful good day. Good morning for all of the Europeans. Good evening for those from Australia who are joining in, and anywhere in between on our beautiful globe, planet Earth. I'm Gaby Burt from The Journey. I've been with Brandon and The Journey for the last nearly 28 years, and it's been an incredible privilege. And we've been wanting to talk about some of the issues of what's holding us back in life. A little while ago, I don't know if you have been to some of Brandon's discovery sessions, but we always invite people to write down challenges and challenges of what's holding them back or what's going on in their lives. And when I looked a little bit more closely at some of these challenges, much of it was actually connected to being stuck in life, to not being able to follow my true path. I'm just reading some of the lines of various challenges, lots of plans and ideas, and I have an obstruction realizing it. Been wanting to change my life for a long time, and I've tried several methods, but so far I haven't succeeded. I need to find a meaningful job, and on and on and on. So it goes, and so I felt like I wanted to share together with my colleague Daniel today some of what's holding us back. Why aren't we stepping into the life that we want? What's the reason? And so there are a couple of things that are really, really key to it. And actually our body very, very often is telling us that there is something not quite right. But before I go into anything, let me introduce you to my colleague Daniel. And before Daniel, come down, come here next to me. Hi.
My God.
Perfect. Hi, Daniel. Thanks for joining us
Yeah,
here today.
I'm so excited, Gabs, and thank you for joining us wherever you're joining us from in the world. Um, I think it's fascinating that most people say they don't have the life they want, and they try willingly to make changes, but somehow it doesn't stick. And today we're exploring what is actually underneath all of that and how we can change it. So not only will we share examples that Gaby will do, I have some science. I want to call it popular science. So this is not just esoteric knowledge. And then we're actually going to do an actual exercise that could potentially unlock some of these hidden blocks that you've been dealing with all your life. And I can also share from personal experience doing the work. I'm not involved as long as Gaby. I'm just 8 years with the journey, but it's literally changed every aspect of my life. And it's mainly in the unconscious realm that these real changes have taken place. And I'm saying that because, so many of us want to do positive thinking and awareness exercises and goal setting and visioning and vision quests. But as long as you do it from your conscious mind, you actually don't touch the essence of what really makes a difference. So today, we're cramming it into an hour, bit of theory, but the most important part for me is the practical part. And I want to really invite you at the end of it to go deeper and actually get a handle on these issues that stop you from having the life you want. So I'm really excited. Thanks, Gaby, for inviting me. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Back over to
Yeah,
you, Gabs.
thank you so thank you so much, Daniel, for being here. And Daniel is our director of communications, so very much involved in communicating with our journey community. I've been international director and with Brandon from pretty much the very, very early days of the journey. And I'm still here today, and it's been one of the biggest privileges, but also I've been there with all of the seminar that have been created, all of the teachings that Brandon has shared, and it has hugely impacted my life in a big way. And so, I'm in the UK. For a change, I'm in the UK. Actually, I'm staying in a friend's house, and the sun either comes in or out. And so my husband and I live in Greece these days. And so when we have sunshine, we have sunshine. It doesn't come and go, but here it's like a cloud or not. And anyway, so I hope it's not too challenging here. So that's just from an introduction point of view. And what's holding us back? What are the issues? I thought I start by saying, because when I looked at the challenges, I also saw that so much of it is actually impacting our physical side. Some people coming with physical challenges and issues, and some of it is like repetitive foot or ankle injuries or knee injuries, or somebody was talking about psoriasis, autoimmune disease. And so it's coming, or lack of energy, or, you know, it gives, once it has a label, it's even, feels like sometimes it's even more stuck. And before I get into some of it, I just wanted to share a little story from myself, where it's not that long ago, actually, just more recently, I was really struggling with my knee. And it was the left knee, and it's been kind of, didn't know what it was. And then you can always put it down to, well, it's, you know, you go to a medical doctor and it's like, well, they look at your date of birth. And then it's, well, it's age, you know, it's worn, it's this, and then it's, you know, this is to be expected. And you kind of being sent away and just say, well, there's not much you can do other than limit your movement, do this and do this. So I thought, well, that's, you know, being in the journey and having been next to Brandon for so many years, it's like, okay, let's just check it out with the journey process. And it was really, really interesting, because my husband did a process with me, and it was something entirely different. And we got to the end of the process, and then I said, hold on a minute. I said, we didn't get to about what's going on in the knee. And he said, yeah, let's just check this out. And we kind of diverted the process direction to the knee. And there was a fear stuck in there, because there was a project being developed at the time. And the belief that I carried at the time was, this is too big. This is not me. This is too big. And it was almost, my body was saying, stop. My body was responding to the belief that I had stored inside of myself. Now, of course, I know that this project isn't too big for me, but my body had something stored from childhood, because I come from a very lovely, simple family in the country in Austria, that this is like much too big. And this is not something that fits into the life that I should lead. And so I cleared that belief out completely, which it is something we can do. And guess what? The knee pain subsided and it hasn't come back. Now, was it worn? Has it healed itself? I don't know, but it's not hurting anymore. And I'm still skiing. I'm water skiing, I'm snow skiing, I'm cycling, I'm walking, I'm swimming, I'm doing, you know, I'm quite active. And for 2 years now, I haven't had an issue with my knees at all. And a lot of the challenges that I was just sharing a couple of snippets with you from had, you know, injuries or repetitive injuries or something like that also mentioned. So I just wanted to say that. But also even more so. So there is something where we have beliefs, and it's even, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm too this, I'm too that, I'm not worthy enough. And all of these beliefs create an internal prison. And then this negative self-talk and the belief that we can't create the life we want is natural. And so we start to believe it ourselves, our body believes it, and then the physical issues come with it, because there is a part of us that knows, and then it throws up psoriasis, or it throws up other issues or health issues, and that's what we want to talk about here today. And it is possible, once we clear some of these dinosaur beliefs out, or these issues that we have adopted in our lives, then we can really create the life that we want, and not one that is like, because of my mom wants me to be well and happy, or because my husband wants me to be in a job, or my children want me to see successful. It's because of what my heart really wants. And for 27 years now, I have seen people develop the life that they want. They, have healthy families, they have happy families, they have thriving businesses. And abundance also, before I invite Daniel back here to speak about the biology of beliefs, some of it is really, how to best say that? It's what it is the heart desires, what it is we want from here. And we can be so distant from ourselves, but once we open beyond our negativities and negative self-talk, then we have access to our heart, to our soul, and create the life from here. So that's what we're going to do a little bit today. We have, just to give you a little bit of an overview, a couple more examples from good stories, positive stories. Daniel is next sharing the biology of belief. And then I'm actually going to do a little guided introspection with you, and also about beliefs, and starting to clear some of the beliefs out for you. Okay, so Daniel, would you please come and
Absolutely. Love
do
to.
your bit?
So thank you, everybody. Thanks for the introduction, Gaby. I also want to start with a little sharing of a story. And in my case, it wasn't a physical issue. It was something different. Before I came to the journey, I had built a fairly successful business. And for me, success was always defined with having a certain amount of money and position. And I built a company that turned over multiple millions of pounds. I lived back in the UK at that point. And then through very strange circumstances, there was a massive court case. And I lost the business in that court case. And there was a lot of pain associated, including a divorce that followed, and losing the money and losing the home, and a lot of these things. So guess what? I adopted beliefs. I created beliefs in my mind that success is associated with pain, with struggle, with suffering. And when I recovered from that, and it took me a few years until I went back, I came back to my feet. I seem to have found it impossible to succeed at any level like before. And then doing more journey work, I uncovered these beliefs underneath that I had created. And these beliefs were very clear that if you are successful, then something would happen. If you have money, then something would happen. And they were unconscious. I had cleared, I had forgiven, I had done therapy. I've believed that I was free from the constraints, but my behavior um, was self-sabotaging. Whenever something started, I was minimizing it again. I don't know if any of you can relate to the idea. We wish for more abundance. We want to have more money flow to our life, but when it seems to come, we block it or we stop it. And I did that for years on end. And through this amazing technology called the journey, and you will experience potentially for the first time today, just a snippet of it. There is something we can do to clear out a belief, and not just that. I mean, it sounds like spiritual surgery, right? We're going inside our our body, and we're finding the belief, and we can change that belief. And once this new belief is installed, and once it was in my case, I re-emerged, I resurfaced with a new look on life. And not only did my attitude, my belief towards abundance change, my actions changed. And of course, now I have different results again, and abundance is flowing freely into my life in so many areas. After struggling for many years, it was almost a 5-year struggle until I realized that there was a belief I created, a connection between an event and a belief. And I want to just share a few slides to illustrate that this is not esoteric, that this is actually scientifically proven. And don't worry, I'm not going to go into deep science. I'm not a research scientist, but I want to quote the work of a pretty well-known scientist, Dr. Bruce Lipton. And I have some slides I brought along with me. And please let me see if that's working. Maybe Olga, you can just tell me if that's working. Just give me a quick nod. You see the slides? Wonderful. Thank you. So this won't take too long, but I really feel, and I wouldn't have prepared the slides otherwise, that this is gonna allow your mind to understand what it actually is we're doing here and hopefully prepare you for the exercise, the breakthrough exercise Gaby has prepared as well. So let's get started. So the biology of beliefs is that our consciousness, our awareness has a control and power over the biology. So Bruce Lipton, PhD, is a cell biologist, and he has for decades now explored the connection between science and so-called spirituality. And spirituality, let me just redefine that for you here the way I understand it. Spirituality means that we're looking for the happiness in our life, the fulfillment in our lives inside of us, not outside of us. That's for me the notion of spirituality. So the biology of belief argues that our beliefs and perceptions, so what we believe and how we see the world, are directly influencing our health and biology. So just let that settle for just a few seconds. What you think between your two ears, what you hold true, the beliefs you have and how you see life, which is often shaped in early childhood, directly influences your health and biology. Now, knowing that, there is a key concept that Dr. Lipton has pioneered, that the cells respond to signals from our environment. That means our body is not preconditioned and determined by genetics, but our thoughts and emotions have a direct influence on every cell of our body. And of course, the cells create cell clusters, create the organs, create the tendons in the knee that Gaby spoke about. It creates our eyeballs that see the world. So these amazing healings that can take place are often linked to belief change. And I want to go into that. So Dr. Lipton, if you never heard of him, he's a very well-known cell biologist. But the connection to the journey is quite profound. As a matter of fact, this is a picture I've taken in India, actually, when I was there with Brandon, and Bruce Lipton was there as well on a tour, and he loves Brandon. This is the best way to say it. He said that Brandon is instrumental and life-changing for him. And his life is so much better because of what you brought into his life. And I will explain to you in just a second why Brandon became so important to him. Because Dr. Lipton, as much as he found out that our beliefs have a direct impact on our health and cells, he did not develop a method how to actually change those beliefs. And this is where Brandon and the journey are pretty unique in the world. So let's talk very quickly about epigenetics. You might have heard the term. What is it? Until the 60s, it was believed that all of our life is predetermined by our genetics, by our gene code. And epigenetics is beyond genetics. It literally states that environmental influences and perceptions, again, how we see the world through our senses, through our thought patterns, turn genes on and off. So in our DNA, there are unlimited potential expressions. So when people say, I'm not fulfilling my potential, it's true, you're not, because there are many parts of your DNA simply switched off. And if we could go there, imagine if you could go there and go to the genes and switch on the switch for abundance, switch on the switch for happiness, any possible soul quality and life quality has got an expression in our genetics. If it is possible to be experienced, it is in your gene code. The enlightenment of a Buddha is in your gene code. Everything is literally available to you, including any form of health and health expression. So we are not victims of our genes. Man, when you go to a doctor today, the first thing they say, oh, you're ill. Is there any history of that in your family? And yes, a predisposition can exist, but we're not controlled by our genetics. Lifestyle, yes. Thoughts, yes. Emotions, yes. They all have an influence. There have been so many twin studies been done where twins with the exact same genetic code have totally different lives because they grow up in different environments. That in itself is proof of this simple theory. So if we can change our genetic expression through beliefs and the experiences we create. So even you being here is creating an experience. I am right now instilling a belief in you that we are not victims of our genes because it is scientifically proven that your beliefs have a direct influence. Simple example, a person's stress response can be changed and altered by their perception of a situation. So if you can help somebody see a situation differently, change the perception, change the position, change the perspective, their body will respond and we will have experience and nervous system regulation. Let's talk very, very quickly about the placebo effect. I'm sure you heard the placebo effect. It's been proven again and again. And what is placebo? Placebo is literally the mind over matter effect. And actually, I can't see everybody else, but let me quickly just move in. Can you just give me a thumbs up or a show of hands if this is valuable? Because I can't see you all. I'm in the middle of my presentation. I've seen some thumbs up here. Okay, some more. Okay, thank you. Okay, this is good. I'm going to carry on. There's a few more. I really hope this is helping you to set the scene. So Bruce Lipton and Brandon call this belief as medicine. So imagine this. And there has been thousands of placebo studies done where they given some people a medication and they given other people nothing but told them that this was medication. That means the healing that takes place in the control group is 100% based on people's belief. And this goes for pain regulation and pain medicine. It goes all the way to cancer healings. Any form of ailment is influenced by our belief. So what are we saying here? That the placebo demonstrates the power of belief in healing. But it's really important. I want to take it one level further. This is not just if we believe in healing, our body can follow suit. This is just the beginning of it. If you can change the beliefs that stop you from healing, healing will naturally occur. This is a different level. This is not like, oh, I need to believe in healing. I want to heal. I want to heal. That might just not be enough because of the underlying belief structure you have built. If your mother and grandmother and great-great-grandmother had a certain ailment and passed away from this ailment, it's very hard for you to just say, I don't believe that, right? But if we can change the underlying beliefs, the body will follow suit. So what the journey is all about is to harness the body's natural ability to heal and, of course, improve our well-being in all areas. This is not just physical, but the body is always such a great example because it's kind of tangible, right? We have an actual experience in our body. So positive beliefs, and this is not about positive thinking or reframing, but positive beliefs create an energy, a frequency that creates healthier outcomes, while negative beliefs create stress, and stress leads to many, many aspects. Again, hundreds of studies have proven that. So we're almost handing over back to Gaby, but I have a few more slides I want to share. Your beliefs shape your life. Your beliefs, whatever you believe, and beliefs have thousands of shapes. Some of them is what your family believes. Some is based on where we're born in the world, we're shaping beliefs. It's what you believe the government is doing or not doing, what you believe is happening in the world right now, what's happening with the environment, what's happening in Israel and Ukraine. There is a belief that you hold around that, and that shapes the quality of your life. You could say that the quality of your beliefs is directly linked to the quality of your life. So what you believe, you become. This is the very, very simple law of manifestation. And of course, people might have watched or binge watched The Secret a while ago. And they're like, okay, I get it. I just think it, then it happens. Unfortunately not. The Secret left out a very important secret, that unless you can change the underlying belief structure, positive thinking is not gonna do the job. It is a beginning of a change, but we can make it 100 times more effective if we deal with the underlying belief structure. And today we're gonna experience a flavor of that. So these beliefs, there are invisible forces. They're shaping your life, health, and happiness. If you could see that, if you could see people's beliefs sitting on their shoulders, for example, if you believe you're not worthy of love, if you're not worthy of success, you will carry that burden with you. And wherever you go, it's like a filter in front of your eyes. Wherever you look, you will see what your beliefs tell you. We cannot see the whole spectrum of truth. We cannot see all of reality. So whatever we're seeing is filtered by our conditioning. What is conditioning? Conditioning is the experiences that are based on the beliefs that shape the experiences. The key insight here is that your thoughts, the thought you're thinking right now, and the belief you hold about your own ability to have the life you want, affect every cell of your body. The cell in your heart, the cells in your lungs, the cell in your digestive tract, the cells in your brain, everything. Every cell of your body, the billions of cells in your body are all affected by your thoughts and beliefs. Now, don't panic. It's not like, oh my God, I better stop thinking bad thoughts. This is an ongoing process. But if we learn how to tune, to replace disempowering beliefs with empowering beliefs, we will have a direct, better outcome on all aspects of our life. You and I and everyone on this call, you have the power to change your life by changing your beliefs. So let's just see how we can do this. And I hope that this comes across as a massively positive message, that we have in our hands, in our possibility, the ability to change our beliefs. So currently, the subconscious runs the show. The subconscious mind is so powerful, and most of these subconscious, and what does subconscious mean? That you're not aware you have them. You need somebody helping you to unearth them. They're subconscious. This is the iceberg below the surface. You can't see them, but they are 90%. Actually, they say 95% of our daily actions and decisions are driven by automated beliefs from the subconscious. And many of them are formed when we were young, when we were children, and they stay with us. And I want to ask you a simple question. Do you believe it's possible that some of the beliefs you formed when you were 3 years old, 6 years old, 8 years old, 12 years old, don't serve you today? Is it possible that you have created misbeliefs, that you have believed things that are turned out not to be true? I have believed so many things that didn't turn out to be true, but while I held on to it, they shaped the experience of my life. So the good news, and this is the summary of what I wanted to share with you today. The good news, you can reprogram these old limiting beliefs and therefore unlock a new, healthier and happier version of yourself by changing your beliefs. So you can change your beliefs and therefore you can change your life. Change your beliefs, change your world. You have the power to change your beliefs. Therefore, you can change how you think and feel. That's what will influence what you do. What you do will create different results in your world. Now, this is now really important. This is where Bruce Lipton's admiration and and love for Brandon comes from. Most people, most schools of thought, most teaching would say this is about awareness and positive thinking practices. In the journey, we work with your core beliefs. We actually manage to somehow dive into the subconscious in a very elegant and safe and simple, profound way. And we're gonna unearth and bring up some of the stuff that you weren't aware of. And once you see it with the light of consciousness of today, with the wisdom of today, you can change it. You can make a decision. And from that moment on, life will change. It will play out differently. I've experienced hundreds of these stories in my 8 years with the journey where people dive in, clear out a belief, and it's almost like you're diving back out of the water and wow, the world looks different because that filter is gone. That limitation is gone. That's really, I'm to this day just moved, deeply moved by the ability we have. We're not victims of our circumstance. So here's the great news. Changing your beliefs will transform your life, and you can start now. And as a matter of fact, we will be starting now because I'm going to hand over to Gaby and she will be kicking off the actual practical part of our session together. So thank you so much. I really hope that was valuable. I'm stopping sharing the screen here. And Gaby, over to you. Let's do this. Let's dive in.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I love those teachings, and you know, there is so much theory out there, so much theory. We can hear this teaching, and yes, you can, and yes, you can, and yet, how does it work? You know, I remember, I want to get back to something that Magdalena has asked, because she wrote when I spoke about my knee injury. She said, I have a question about that. How did I identify that it was the fear of the project that I felt was too big for me, or that I didn't have it in me? Well, this is kind of part of a bigger story where beliefs are also associated with emotions. So if we believe that I don't have what it takes, then if something approaches us in life, it throws up a fear, or it throws up a deeper emotion, or an anger, or negative self-talk. But these are all emotional issues. And the journey is known and has been known for 30 years now to go after emotional limitations, which, you know, there is a belief, then there's an emotion. And so why did I know it was connected to the project that I felt it was too big? I didn't know what it was, but when I kind of tuned into my knee, there was fear there. And so for those of you who don't know that much about the journey yet, but the journey gives us the opportunity to open beyond emotions into a vast presence of source. Brandon calls it generically or neutrally source, but source is also unconditional love. It's freedom. It's just a presence of beingness, you name it, whatever. So in being able to feel an emotion and open beyond and through a layer of various emotions, we open into, call it for simplicity, true self. And from here, I can see some of the issues that are causing or have caused the issues. So these are cell memories. And when we clear these cell memories completely, then the blank page that allows us to create the life that we really want from the heart is possible. So there is the science of biology, or the biology of belief, and everything that Daniel has spoken, and it makes absolute and total sense. But then comes the question, how do I do that? And coming back to the very simple question of Magdalena when she said, well, how did you know that? I just want to tell a brief story before I go into our exercise today, where actually before I met Brandon, I was at a weekend seminar with Deepak Chopra. And much of what he spoke about on this seminar went totally over my head. It was in the 90s, and kind of I was setting out to make changes in my life and do something different. But he said something in this seminar, which I learned at Brandon's seminar. He said, what people who grow happily and healthily into mature or old age, if you want to call it, have in common is, number one, they have the ability to open into a presence, an infinite intelligence that governs all of life, the truth of who we actually really are. That's number one. And number two is that we get access to cell memories that are somehow stored inside of our body. So for me, it was in my knee. Some of the challenges where I said, you know, people had ankle injuries, people had psoriasis, people had this, all kind of different issues. So cell memories that are stored inside of us, and we need to clear them. And that is what the journey is known for. Now, Deepak Chopra had the theory of it. That's what you did. And he called it or taught it as an act of grace. So if by coincidence you somehow open into this vast presence, this infinite intelligence, and you become aware of a cell memory and you clear it out, that's the key. You know, that's the key to heaven. That's the key to happy and healthy lifestyle. And he just didn't have a method of how to do it. And this was my path of learning. And the next person I met on my path was Brandon. And she developed a method 30 years ago where on day one, you open into an infinite presence, infinite intelligence that is all of life. And on day two, you learn a process that connects you to unresolved traumatic old memories that you couldn't deal with at the time when they happened. So obviously I can't remember the actual cell memory, but I realized that there was something that was bigger than I thought I could handle, and I shut down, and that created a fear, and that was somehow stuck in my knee. And by clearing that, it kind of made the project no issue at all, and the pain in my knee disappeared. So it was as simple as that. And that was just one tiny small memory that I know from myself. Daniel mentioned a lot more from his past. And if I go all the way back to 97, when I started, you know, my cell memories were stacked up and a lot more. So I'm talking about having cleared decades of stuff from my system, and then you still uncover the occasional this little thing here or there. But yes, it's very much connected to beliefs. And then I also want to say, because we're calling it the abundance, you know, how to overcome our barriers to abundance. And then I also just want to say, what is abundance? Because abundance, sometimes we mistakenly believe that it's wealth, that it's money. Well, money is energy. But to me, abundance means a life in flow, a life of being fulfilled and happy, of living in the relationship that give me joy and happiness, of being fulfilled in my career, that I wake up in the morning, it's like, hey, great, I'm grateful to be alive, I'm grateful to hear, I love what I do. That to me is living in abundance. Health is part of abundance. You know, if I haven't got health, what does anything mean? And so being in health is very much to do with abundance in my life. So I just wanted to say this because I would love to go into our little exercise, and we've been, goodness gracious, we've already been going for 40 minutes. So this is a little elicitation, and then we come back for Q&A, we come back for question and answers afterwards, and talk a little bit about how you can do more of this and how you can adopt this into your life. So what I would love you to do, first of all, is I hope you may, and I didn't say that before, I do apologize, a piece of paper and a pen, because I'm going to ask you to write something down. Just a couple of sentences. And if it's too complicated for you to get a pen and paper, then I'm sure you can remember a couple of sentences. But let's get started. Let's get started with our exercise. And so first of all, thank you so much for Daniel for the beautiful explanation. Thank you everyone for showing up here. And I hope you're good with doing a guided introspection right now to get some sense of how easy it is, what kind of puts us off. So this is my purpose, and also starting to clear some of the unhealthy beliefs that we have amassed through our life. And so just close your eyes for a moment and take a nice deep breath in and letting it out. And just continue to breathe deeply all the way down into your tummy. And allowing your mind to come to rest right now. It's nothing that we need to overthink here. Strangely enough, our bodies have all the answers. Our bodies can guide us in the most beautiful, harmonious way. And so just bring your awareness in your heart area, maybe. Just every breath you take, and just notice that with your breathing, you're relaxing even more. Your awareness is in your body, in your heart area, in your chest. And if you get a sense that there is any tension or stress anywhere, just put your breath in this area and allow it to gently open. And then allowing awareness to expand. Just becoming aware of beyond the boundaries of your body. Expanding awareness to the left and to the right, to the sides of you, and then to the front and behind. Just allow it to open, becoming aware of the presence in the room, allowing awareness to expand up above and below. Just allowing yourself to become wide open, a vessel of just presence, of just beingness. And so if I'm asking you a question right now, if I could create the highest vision in my relationship, in my career, in my health, in my finances, education, creativity, if I could have anything, if I had this magic wand and I could create the life that I really wanted, and your awareness is in your heart right now, and it may not be the latest version of Mercedes or something, it's just what's here in your heart. If I could create the highest vision in my life or for my life, in health, in relationship, in wealth, in career, creativity, what would that look like? And then just allowing, and you know, if any of the beliefs already creep in, it's like, oh, that's stupid, you know, I will never be able to do that. Just write it down, just throw all barriers, just breathe in courage and just write it down. A couple of sentences, it doesn't need to be a book, just a couple of sentences of, if I could create the highest vision in my life or for my life, what would that look like? And what would that feel like? And we'll just take a couple of minutes for you to just jot down that. Just write it on a piece of paper and be courageous. Anything. Just imagine you have this magic wand and you just do that and just write it down. Beautiful, you're doing great. Give us a few more seconds to finish that sentence. Maybe the perfect partner, life partner, a family. Maybe being self-employed or working in a specific area. Maybe you want to write a book or become your art to be exhibited. Whatever it is, our dreams are all different. We're all here for a reason. We all have a purpose to be here. Beautiful. And letting that vision of yours, that highest vision for your life, let that come to an end. We'll send out a recording of this. You can do this exercise again afterwards. And so I'm going to ask you a few questions around this highest vision right now. And you don't need to write this down. You can just listen to it and become aware of the mindset around it. And so what are my beliefs around my ability to manifest this? What are my beliefs around my ability to manifest this? So even if I had this magic wand, what do I really believe about my ability to manifest this? What are my capabilities, my competence to manifest this? Do I have the capability and the competence to manifest this? And just allow you, no filtering, just no reframing, just up and bring it in awareness. What would I fear might happen if I manifested this? Could I sustain this vision? Have I earned it? What are my beliefs around deserving this? What would my parents say about me manifesting this vision? What would my friends, my partner say about me manifesting this? And what might happen to my relationships with my kids, with my past partner, husband? If all of this happened, what would really happen? What are your beliefs about the life's ability to manifest this? What are your negative beliefs about what would happen if this was manifested? Would it last? If there were a cost, what would it cost you? Or what would the cost be if this was manifested? I mean, what would you need to give up? What's the cost? Would your friends and family still love you if you manifested all of this? Is there anyone who might stop you from having this manifested? And what is your deepest belief about this vision? Do you actually really believe it can and could or would manifest? What's your deepest belief about this vision? Beautiful. I'm stopping asking awkward questions now. But just kind of bring the one belief to mind that you feel was the strongest. There was one belief that kind of stood out, and it may have just been in the last one. What's the deepest belief about your vision? It could be about losing my loved ones. What would it cost me? I really don't have what it takes. Whatever the strongest belief is right now, bring that to mind. Eyes closed, and turn your attention inwards. And just speak out or whisper out that belief. Your belief, the worst belief that's undermining this highest vision of you. And what does it really feel like to know that this belief kind of is hanging in there? And really allow that to be felt. These things are already inside of you. We're just bringing awareness to it right now. And so just allowing it. And then asking if there was a belief even deeper underneath this belief, what might that be? So if there was a belief that is kind of underneath this one, what might it be? That just get a little bit more simple and deeper. And how does that make you feel? You're doing great, by the way. And whatever emotion shows up, it's okay, it's welcome. And asking one more time, if there was an even deeper belief that is underneath this one, upon which the current one is built on, but another deeper belief underneath, what might that be? And how does that make you feel? And I'm sure we're soon getting to the bottom of the barrel. And just for good measure, we're going one level deeper. And so I'm asking you to go to the very bottom of the barrel, to the foundational belief upon which all the other beliefs are built on. The one that's really the undercurrent of everything. And it may just be as simple as I don't have what it takes. I don't deserve, whatever. I'm not good enough. Whatever that is, just allow it. And how does it make you feel? It's in a way. You are not alone in this. Just know. And really allowing this foundational belief to just be aware of it and the feeling that comes with it. And then I'm asking a presence of light or a guardian angel or a mentor, somebody, a saint or a sage in somebody's wisdom you trust, to just come along and pull the rug from underneath all of these beliefs and let these beliefs just tumble into a void and that they no longer exist. So pulling away the rug from underneath all of these beliefs and just let them tumble and fall into each other, into a nothingness. And then just when all of these beliefs just have fallen into each other, just be present to what remains when all of these beliefs have gone, fallen apart, fallen into each other, into this whole of nothingness, and you just open wider into the very heart of this. What remains in the very heart, and who are you? Who are you really? And just allowing a deeper whisper to come from the very depth of your soul, of your heart, and the very heart of hearts. Who are you? And just continue to open wider and deeper in the very heart of it. Allowing your heart, your soul to reveal the true nature of who you are. And then allowing this presence of light or guardian angel or this mentor of yours to just step inside your body and sweep clean the body from all of these old, outdated beliefs that may have come from when you were small. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 years old, or a teenager, intimidated, scared, just allowing all those beliefs to be washed out, cleaned out, brushed out, whatever the mentor decides is good for you. And then out of this profound presence that is so much more than just a physical form, that is infinite, boundless. What's the real truth? If there was a healthy, wholesome belief that you can adapt into your life, into your cells, into your being, what might that be? Just allowing that to come through your consciousness right now. Showing up for me is I'm everything. If I am everything, how can there be any limitation? And then whatever shows up for you, if it has a wholesome, healthy resonance to it, allow it to be installed in every cell of your being, of your body. Allowing your being to resonate with that wholeness, with that health inside of you. And then taking a nice deep breath in and letting it out. And another deep breath in and letting it out. And on your next deep breath in, you can just open your eyes. Beautiful. And so I'm just gonna, that was an exercise, an example, and I hope you were playful and just allowed to go with me. But what showed up when we pulled away the rug from underneath those beliefs, and the who are you, what remains when all of these beliefs are gone? And so if you feel like it, just share in the chat box what remains, what shows up. And so there is, I think, I am love, I am enough. Beautiful, I get goosebumps here. This was a very, very short exercise, and it's not all of what the journey is about. You know, this is a little exercise to put into awareness everything of what Daniel spoke, that there is a vastness, love. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for playing I Am Light. Wonderful, wonderful. So I am whole and love. I am one with the universe. Amazing, thank you. Everybody will get the recording. I am nature, I am beautiful, I am love. Wow, I'm away. So this is a short exercise. And this is not all of what the journey is doing. This is not all of what the journey does. I'm vulnerable and I'm safe. Well, that's a beautiful one, Carmen. And vulnerability takes courage, but yet in here. So before I hand over to Daniel, or back to Daniel, this is the presence where our heart's desire can be created, where actually grace, love itself, when we are connected to all of what you are speaking here right now, when we are connected to this, it's not our mind that says, I want. Then it's actually life itself creating the vision, the plan of what it is, where you're meant to be, what you're meant to do. It comes from here. It doesn't come from here. And so it's not a 5-minute exercise. There is a few more steps to that. And that was a little tiny exercise. And when you get the replay, you can go through it again, maybe with a little bit of a deeper understanding. I didn't give you much warning of what we would be doing here. And I can see that it's for many of you, for many and most of you, it's been quite a profound experience. And you could also see how the beliefs play in, what kind of beliefs we have in there. And, you know, it just happens. We're human beings and we don't learn. Nobody teaches us, which I think should really happen in school, how we can clear this rubbish out of our beings, out of ourselves. So Daniel, over to you, my friend, and let's talk a little bit more about everything here.
So first up, amazing, Gaby. I'm so amazed also with the results people have been getting.
Yeah.
In like 15 minutes, right? Or 20 minutes, whatever it was. So I want to personally thank you for spending the hour with us. We will be another 5 minutes. So if you can hang on, it would be great. We did try to finish it all in an hour, but we packed a lot in as well. So I actually want to express an invitation. If you had a little experience now or a big experience now, I just want to say to you, this is like scratching the scratch. This is the top snowflake on the top of the mountain that is right on here. And we can go deeper, deeper, deeper. And to really have profound life change, you can imagine there is more than one belief, more than one memory. So Brandon Bass, our founder of the journey, for over 30 years now, has been running our flagship program called the Journey Intensive. And I really want to invite you to learn the techniques that Gaby has shared here today for yourself, for your loved ones. This is stuff that you can do whenever you feel you're out of sync or unaligned. And to learn this just takes a couple of days. We've condensed it down to a weekend. Because we're online now, we could make it incredibly affordable. And what we do with the Journey Intensive, you will be guided live by a presenter wherever you are in the world. We have people here from all over the world. We're running events in Europe, in Australia, in North America. So you always get Brandon's recordings, her teachings, plus you're getting the co-presenter, and you will have trainers in there as well to guide you. Like today, Gaby guided you a little bit, and you will be over a weekend experiencing deeper and deeper cuts of your true nature. And as Gaby said so beautifully, once you experience this blank slate, and for all of you, it's been love, beauty, freedom, nature. That is our common experience of who we truly are. From that place, you start visioning the life you want, not from an egoic place. Oh, my neighbor's got a bigger house than me, I want that too. But we're looking at what truly wants to come up. I would ask Olga to please put the link into the chat for all of you, and we're gonna send you a link as well. There is an opportunity in Europe in the next couple of days, in 9th to the 11th, 11th of November, so very soon, to actually deep dive and learn the technology that Gaby has to given you a little flavor of today for yourself and for the loved ones, if you want to share it with others as well. If you already feel that you want to really go deep, there is a second retreat that we call the Conscious Abundance Retreat. Before I go there, let me just say the Journey Intensive is currently available to you for just 197. So pretty much for the price of a massage or a big meal out, you can learn a technology to clear beliefs that might have been holding you hostage, kept you in prison, and kept you stuck for decades, potentially for your whole life. And this is going to set the stage for the life you truly want, no matter what the circumstances, no matter what the environment. As I said earlier, we're not bound by our genetics. We have now tools at our fingertips. And if you want to learn those tools to master them for your own life, that's the invitation. So please follow that link. We're going to send you an email as well, but you can go there right now and you can, for just 197, get yourself the experience of the Journey Intensive and learn from Brandon and be held in embrace with trainers and our co-presenters anywhere around the world. If you already know that this is for you, if you had an experience today that says, yes, bring it on, we have also some sort of a special offer here for you. And we have a second retreat called the Conscious Abundance Retreat, where we look at all levels of abundance. Gaby shared today that abundance is not just money, of course. It is one aspect is financial abundance, but there is the abundance of health, of meaningful relationships, of life purpose. All of that is also a special retreat we put together, and that retreat is available to you as well. If today you feel like you're ready for the Abundance Retreat, we will give you the Journey Intensive as a gift. So if you say, yeah, I'm in, I want to do both retreats, the Journey Intensive Foundations, plus I want to go to the Abundance Retreat and learn what holds me back, what self-sabotage patterns have I got in place to stop me from having true abundance in all areas of life, then that's available as well. Conscious Abundance is the retreat. It's a 2.5-day retreat plus Journey Intensive together is just 597 in euros. So if you are somewhere in the Eurozone, 597 for both retreats. Or I definitely want to encourage you to do the first step, Journey Intensive, coming up somewhere near you soon. As I said, European dates are in the chat. Please click on that link, check it out. Once we're completing here, read through the page, explore more, and make your decision. So many of you had a flavor of what it is like today. Imagine spending a whole weekend going deep, immersing yourself. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for hanging on for a couple of extra hours. Big thank you for Gaby for doing an amazing job guiding us deep today. And also thank you for the back office team, Olga, who's been clicking around and sending messages and holding all of you. I want to I'm not taking this lightly that you've spent time with us this morning. There's a million things we can all do. The fact you've been called to be here, the fact that you've been, diving deep, rolling up your sleeves, that's the kind of people that are my people. So well done, making sure that you learn the stuff that you're not feeling that life is holding you hostage or you're a victim of life. So thank you one more time. I'm handing over to Gaby. If there are any more questions, please ask them now. And I also shared with Olga the slides from today. If anybody wants those slides, they already been made available to you. If that's useful, also feel free to share them, right? This is really important knowledge. Gaby said it should be taught in school. Imagine what life would be like in primary school. You're learning to change beliefs. Imagine if
Yeah.
our kindergarten would show you how to emotionally clear and stay open. What a different life, what a different world we would have. And here at the journey, we still believe that we can make that difference, and we can turn it around, and we can change and create the world we like to see. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Daniel. And thank you again, everyone, for joining us and being playful and investigate what's really there. And as Daniel said, this was kind of scratching the surface a little bit, but it should give us proof of how easily we are held prison by some of the beliefs. And these things have been hanging around for a long time. And so if you're ready to step into life, if you're fed up with low energy, with not being healthy enough, with not living the life you want, I really commend just take that one step. Just get started at the beginning. You know, when I spoke about what Deepak Chopra said, what the people who grow into old age or mature age have in common is, number one, is opening into source, opening into this presence. Number two, clearing old emotional issues or traumas from ourselves. That is what you learn at the Journey Intensive. This is what Brandon brought into the world. And somehow it's simple, it's lasting, and it really works. And so if you're not sure about the whole package, start at the beginning and just take the first step and come home to yourself, because that's the only place to be, because from here you are guided step by step by life, by grace itself. And that is a colorful, rich, abundant life every moment of the time. So I thank you for being with us here today, and I hope we see you along the way. And the replay will come if you want to hear the presentation again, or Daniel's explanation of beliefs, or the exercise that I just did. And I look forward to seeing you along the way. Namaste, and thank you very much. Bye-bye.